Scenario: a race car is traveling on a horizontal track. The track spotter is recording the data from the car. The spotter starts recording the data at time t equals to 0 as x is equal to 8 meters with a velocity of 2 meters per second in the negative x direction. After 1 second, the car accelerates in the positive direction. Question: if the acceleration was 5 meters per second squared, how far did the car travel? The approach for this question requires you to first label all the information. The time equals to 1 second. The starting position x naught is 8 meters. The starting velocity in the x direction is negative 2 meters per second. The negative comes from, it says, a velocity of 2 meters per second in the negative x direction. Your question mark is the distance traveled, so x is equal to your question mark. In the question, it does give us an acceleration of a equals to 5 meters per second squared in the x direction. Notice all of this has the subscript of x because it says that it is traveling on a horizontal track. After you label this information, you should notice that this is a motion problem that requires you to grab one of your kinematics equation. Looking at the formula sheet given to you on the exam, you can isolate this one. This equation gives you all the information that you have, and you can solve for the x, which is the final position. Plug everything in. So 8 goes in for x naught, negative 2 goes in for vx naught, t is 1, and your acceleration in the x direction, ax, is 5. You now can chug and plug this in, giving you x is equal to 8.5 meters. The second question: if the acceleration is now doubled, how far did the car travel? What you need to do is double the acceleration. Before, it was 5 meters per second squared. Now it is 10 meters per second squared. It's the same equation, but this time you're plugging in 10 meters per second in for the ax. Chug and plug, you should get the new distance is 11 meters. That makes sense because a greater acceleration, the further it's going to travel given the same amount of time. The last question. Now you would like to estimate how far the car could travel if the acceleration is between 5 meters per second squared and 10 meters per second squared. Well, we know at 5 meters per second squared, it can travel 8.5 meters, and at 10 meters per second squared, it can travel 11 meters. So the range would be in between those two values if the acceleration is in between these two values.